So this is Diesel for We the People News. And again, I never just look straight forward. I always look around me for the outside forces may want to commit harm upon me. Alright, now I've heard a couple of things on this lady and all that, and to be honest with you, I think she's on one side, the other the corporation of Democrats and Republicans. However, I think she goes in a little deeper details. But this video right here kind of brings up an interesting point, right? Whether she's on one side or the other. Alright, you guys already know me. I think both sides are playing kissy face in the back doors. So no matter who's there, they're against us. I'm not an attorney. Don't care to be an attorney. This is just kind of a learning thing to broaden your mind to think outside the box. That way to keep you from looking straight forward and always look around you. Alright? So let's proceed forward on this.
So I've said this before. We are in a war. Right? And the scariest thing about being in a war is when you don't even realize it. Because at that point, your enemy can blindside you. Now, they will tell you, you know what, we are doing all of this stuff for your safety and for your health. That is a flat-out lie. I have been doing research concerning so many different corrupt things in our world for years. And let me tell you, there are cures. These different things have been suppressed. People have been jailed for trying to talk about and sell different cures. So it is really crazy what is going on and how information and cures are being suppressed like nobody's business. This whole thing, shutting everything down, creating things in a lab, you know, all of this stuff, Big V, it benefits these very powerful people, not us. The first reason they're stirring this stuff up is the fact that they want to test our compliance, right? Are you going to cover your face whenever you go out?
Which is what I've said, right? I said it in a different way. But let's go with argument facts. Alright? Let's just say there is a God. Alright? Well, how do you get billions of people to take the mark? Well, I mean, case in point. They literally are unconstitutionally telling you what you can and cannot do, which enhances what I've said before, right? We've been, and this is opinion, alright, so don't take it as facts. We've been in martial law 3 ever since Lincoln. And now, all these uppity-ups want to control more. And I'm a firm believer that they're trying to put this into one world government. Whether it's for the anti or whether it's just for greedy people, it don't really matter. If we're going to go in one world, we're still going to go into one world. Control.
Are you not going to see your family? Okay, very good. Wow, you're so obedient. Now that lets me know how much more I can get away with doing.
They right now, y'all, by the way, are telling families to call up on their families. Literally. Alright? Russia, when they turned communist, a 14-year-old kid, no, I believe it was a 12-year-old kid, called the government on his dad because he didn't agree about the country being a communist country. He didn't want it. And they killed his dad. Well, in all actuality, that kid killed his dad.
Right? They want to test your faith in the media. How much are you going to believe of what the media is telling you? Are you going to let the media control your life and have you living in fear? You know, you're going to shut your business down and not be able to provide for your family. Go bankrupt. You know, all of this stuff is really crazy. But again, it is to test our compliance. Second reason, they want to keep us dependent on the government, right? All of these stimulus checks, people were scrambling, right? They were scrambling, trying to figure out, how am I going to feed my family? What am I going to do? Many people lost their businesses. They lost their homes. They lost their jobs. So there were a lot of things going on that just kind of pointed back for us, that just kind of directed us back to dependence on the government for help and trying to figure out what our next moves are. And there's a big thing that's being talked about right now, the eviction, the federal eviction moratorium, which is supposed to expire today, right? All of these people who basically were exempt from being evicted if they couldn't pay their mortgage or they couldn't pay their rent. And now that is going to expire. So what's going to happen if that does expire? Well, a lot of people are going to lose their homes, and those homes go back to the banks, right? Which again, it's about these bankers. They're getting richer. And when people don't pay their mortgage, it can collapse the financial system. And the bankers will probably nationwide repossess at least 10% of the properties. So again, all of these recessions happen, it benefits the bankers, not the people. You know, unfortunately, they are trying to impoverish our country, and these moratoriums can actually bankrupt landlords. Right? Because they have all of these people who are not paying their rent. And how are these landlords supposed to make money? And there's a guy who's running for mayor in Minnesota. He wants to set up a debt amnesty program to stop the enforcement of the bankers' rights to be able to just take people's homes. So I know there's been a lot of talk where, you know, politicians have been talking about, extend the eviction moratorium until October 2nd. But then what happens when October 2nd passes? These people are put back in the same situation because unfortunately, a lot of people have not been able to get back on their feet after CDD and the lockdowns. So another reason they want to create big fees, shut everything down, and keep everybody in bondage is to create a new world order and a one world government, which that's what it includes. And a lot of people may not realize that this is a real thing, but it is. And
we're going to go back with this. Whether this is religious or whether it's not, it's slowly happening. Oh, it can't happen in America. Well, forcing me to do something against my will can't happen in America, and yet they're doing it. We have inalienable rights to protect ourselves by any means necessary. However, you got to ask permission, but that can't happen in the United States of America because we have the Constitution. But yet it's happening. You see cop watchers out there doing the First Amendment activity. They can't go to jail for it, but yet it's happening. We got the Fourth Amendment for warrants to be able to search. Well, the warrant is to show us what they can search because it has to be defined. It has to show that they are allowed to search in your dresser drawers. It's got to be written down. And yet they don't do it. They just go through the house and be able to search the whole house. So, but not in America, because we've got warrants that we're not allowed to see no more. And then when it's not on there, well, the cops are on, well, whatever. You know, in the back of their head, I got qualified immunity. So I can search whatever I want to search. Fifth Amendment. As soon as you get pulled over by the cops, you literally gave up your Fifth Amendment rights by proving, you know, driver's license, insurance, or registration. You just gave up your Fifth Amendment, because that right there is creating a court. So you have a right to, not to incriminate yourself. However, you did. And you caused the creation of it. So, but not in America, because we have that protection. The Sixth Amendment. We have a right to counsel. Counsels and lawyers are two different things. You know, we're supposed to be wise enough, but there's so many darn laws out there that's not supposed to exist because it's contradictory to the other laws, like the state constitution, like the federal constitution. If there's laws out there contradicting them, then it cannot be a law. And yet, not in America, but they still do it every day. When it really matters, they ignore the 10th Amendment for the states that have their own sovereign deal. But yet, somehow or another, the government confiscated 100 miles inland from the border all around the state. But not in America, because they got the Constitution. Again, yet they do it. You know, wildlife preserves here in Texas for fishing and boating and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, they are for the state and federal, but they got special leeways. However, the oath of office is sheriff when they're not a sheriff. So how's that oath work? It don't. And they're allowed to ignore the Constitution, but not in America, and yet they do. So, you guys just, I don't know what to tell y'all. I've talked about this a few times, so it is what it is. As long as you keep complying, they're going to keep grabbing y'all more and more every day. You have a right to your property. You know, if I have 150 acres out there, they're not allowed to roam around my land. And because it's X amount of footage away from my house, they don't need a warrant. My foot. They certainly, most certainly do. But yet, they're doing it.
Mergers and acquisitions is the proof of it. A lot of people look at acquisitions of companies that are doing well, and they're saying, wow, you know, if some big tech company bought you out, that means, you know, you're really worth something, especially if they were able to acquire you for a lot of money, right? We look at Google acquired YouTube and Android, and all of these big tech companies are starting to merge together. That is not by accident, because you'll see with a lot of stuff on social media, they're all united in, you know, what they say and their policies, and, you know, how you're able to speak on their platforms. It's all one united front, bringing us closer and closer to a one world government. So I was looking and I was doing some research, and an article by Fortune, they gathered information from Yelp, and they found that nearly 100,000 businesses were permanently shut down after the lockdowns. And a lot of these different businesses are still struggling to this day, the ones who did make it through, to stay afloat, to get business. It is really crazy. And that is not by accident, right?
And this, again, is my opinion. I don't even think that's even accurate. I think it's a lot more than that. But again, you got to pay attention to who's telling these things, right? They still want to keep everything in a minimum. They knew there was going to be losses, and they couldn't say, well, there was no loss of companies, or people that lost their businesses would go up in an outrage and say, well, wait a minute, I lost mine. What do you mean there was none? So they had to keep it at a minimum to kind of change, make it not seem as bad as it is, right? But I'm a firm believer it's way, way beyond that.
Trying to make it so everything, all of the different businesses, tech companies, everything is under one big umbrella. So I was looking at the information, and it looks like workers lost $3.7 trillion as a whole during the lockdowns, while billionaires gained $3.9 trillion. Right? So who did all of this stuff?
And you guys could do this research. They literally became quite a bit richer while everybody else was getting quite a bit poorer. Y'all. And dare I say it, Democrats out there, aren't you supposed to be against big corporations? And you're still obeying them? And you're still accepting these things? Aren't you contradicting yourself? Republicans, aren't you supposed to be for more freedom? And yet, aren't we losing more freedom? So, aren't you contradicting yourselves? And you wonder why I'm not either one?
Benefit. Right? They want to control all of social media, which was one of the reasons why a lot of people know that Parler was shut down. They couldn't gain enough control over it until they feel like they got to a space where they were able to have enough control over what's being said on Parler to allow it to reopen. Gab. And I know I talk about them a lot, but it's very relevant to what I'm talking about in a lot of my videos recently, because they have tried so many times to hack Gab, to shut it down, and because Gab has its own server, they were unsuccessful with doing that. Why? Why do they need to shut it down? Why do they care so much? Because they want to control what is being said all around. They want to control free speech. But if they find something that they can't control, then it's getting in the way of them having their one world government. Why do they need to control everything? Right? Why do they need to own all of these companies? Google, since 2001, has acquired over 200 different companies. And guess what? They're not done. Right? All of these different big companies, even outside of Google, they're going to acquire, try and shut down small businesses until they get to a point where they own everything. They want to silence people, right? They don't want you talking to each other. They don't want you saying certain stuff online. That's why people have their video.
Enhances family telling on family. Neighbors telling on neighbors. Fold is going to tell on Fold. Let's think about this, y'all. United, we stand. Separated, we will fall. One thing government's good at, and the rich, is they know united they stand. We the people are the ones that's divided because they know how to play chess games. And they keep on moving the right pieces and we keep losing. Because divide and conquer. We are unstoppable if we quit using these titles of Democrats and Republicans. You know, most of you guys don't know, but Democrats and Republicans, they are a corporation. They are a business. There's nowhere in the Constitution says Democrats or Republicans. So when we started first voting, it wasn't because of Democrats and Republicans. Now they say it now, but they kind of equalize to what they believe in then and believe in now. Yeah.
Have you seen that little white box that was on top of the printer?
No.
About yay big?
No.
Yay wide?
No.
My headphones are gone.
Sorry, y'all. But sit and think about it. It's not complicated to figure this out. We the people are going after each other and not going after the people of the cause and effect of the actions. Speaking of which, you know, quit going after just police. You know, stand tall for the city council, judges, attorneys. Start filing bar grievance on the judges and attorneys, no matter where they're from. Most of our congressmen are attorneys. File bar grievance. Most of your representatives in your own states, most of the senators in your own states are lawyers. Bar grievance. You know, they're going against your will. They're going against the Constitution.
Shut down. That's why people have their accounts deleted. And that is why they want you to wear a mask over your face. Right? That is a symbol to say that we do not want you to speak to other people.
It's another one of those amazing check opening days. Open it up in front of you.
Reason number 6. So that they could create the biggest heist in America. Right? Stealing what didn't belong to them. Saying that a certain person won when they didn't. And now we're in the process of fighting that with all of these different states, right? They're nervous about what's going on with the audits. And you know what? I got more.
Okay, so she may be a little bit more hip on this, but if we're in martial law 3, these votings don't even matter. All states are territories right now. So, is these votings a hoax to make us think that we actually live in the United States Republic? Now, when we say republic, that's not Republicans. Okay? When we say democracy, that's not Democrats. Alright. Anyway, she's going to go into the voting thing. Alright. I'm a firm believer this voting thing is a set-up thing to cause conflict. I believe in it, but I think they're using it to the government's advantage. I don't think it's cut and dry about our votes actually count.
Information coming on that, even concerning a dream I had. So I'll talk about that in my video next week. Number 7, wanting to push Big V. And I do believe that one of the plans of Big V is to kind of wipe a lot of people out of here.
That may or may not be true. However, sit and think about this one. Alright. everybody keeps on calling themselves persons. Well, persons is a thing in legal definitions. Alright? So you're a thing. But the way I look at it, I reside in my body. It's a vessel. It's my house. It protects me. I can't say it really protects me because I'm more free without my body. But it's the transfer that I'm going through. Right? But right now I reside in my body, and my body is my property. My genes are my property. You know, my pee-pee, you know, is my fluids. You know, my veins, my DNA, my speech, my ears, my eyes, my fingers. It's my property. It's my castle.
What can we do knowing all of this stuff that is going on? Because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it is a lot. And what I read off on that list is not even the half of it. Okay? And you know what? At some point, we'll probably do a part 2 for this video. First of all, what we can do, yes, the word tells us in everything by prayer, of course, we need to pray. But like I always say, faith without works is dead, being alone. So we need more than that. We need to pray that God shows us how we can contribute to stopping all of this evil that is going on in the world. Right? What is our role in all of this? Because God has a major plan for each and every one of us out there. Another thing that a lot of people have been doing, and I've been doing that from time to time.
Alright, so some of you guys going to not buy religious texts? Think of it this way. If they are willing to cause harm to your family for not volunteering in these things, who's the true problem? Remember, y'all, anytime you take another person's rights away and demand to have that person's rights taken away, quote, quote, person, then you're also taking your own rights away. It's going to come and bite you in the butt. Period. So some of you guys may hate this video, what I have to say and all that, but remember, anything that you are taking from me, you're taking from yourself. It just hasn't bit you in the butt yet. But it will.
Too, because most of us, we just want to live our lives in peace, right? We want to be with our families. We want to enjoy our lives until it's our time to go home and be with God. But one of the things we have been doing is going along to get along, right? Well, I'm just going to wear this mask. I'm just going to get Big V because, you know, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to live my life. And as long as a lot of us are going along to get along, even if we know something they're doing is wrong, they're going to continue to do it. Because they're like, oh yeah, if we can just say, you can't do this or you can't do that, you can't work.
Yeah, okay. So really the government is not saying these things. They're telling the companies to order to come to work. They must have it. All right? Because they actually know they don't have authority to really force us to do this. In all actuality, constitutionally speaking. Now you'll hear the people say, well, you don't have this constitution thing and all that. Oh, they're full of crap. They're lying to you. And they're lying to you on purpose. So you can play along, get along. Okay? Look. This is not complicated. I'm not here for your safety. Alright? If you want to be safe, stay home. When this all was out and about, I mostly stayed home. Because I know some of these things was actually accurate and true. I don't think it was as bad as they make it out being. But in most cases, I just stayed home. So, but I didn't make the responsibility for them to protect me. I didn't say, hey, you have to have a mask on to protect me. Alright? That's not my job. It's not their job to protect me from this. Alright? But somehow or another, it is their job to say, I gotta do it. To protect them. Again, you take a right from me, you're losing your own rights while you're doing it.
And then people are going to comply and just say, okay, well, I guess I got to do it. Then they're just going to keep doing it. But you see in a lot of other different countries, people are starting to test because they're at a point where they're like, enough is enough. We're not going to take this anymore. And I believe that's the point we do need to get to if we are going to try and stop these evil people. So anyway, I know this video has been long. Share this video with people you know and love so that, you know, they can just have a taste of information about what's going on and, you know, why they're trying to do all of this. And I know a lot of you, you know, you probably have other information that I have not gone over in this video. And if you have other reasonings as to why they're doing all this.
Alright, we're going to call it good there. Alright, y'all. Now, there's only a couple options we can do. We can live free, or we can die as slaves. If you take a right from me, you're taking rights from yourself and your family. So, this video is really, really long, and I apologize for all the yapping. But it needs to be told. Alright, this is Decent for We the People News. Good luck to all of us. Because the way it's looking, the UN is coming after us. And it don't matter whether it's a religious thing or if it's just a man thing. When you lose your freedom, you still lose your freedom. This is the Way the People News. Bye, y'all.